Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a beautiful summer day here in Oregon, and I couldn't be happier than to get to spend an hour with anybody watching the stream or on a replay. That's fine too. Today, we're going to be talking about AI, artificial intelligence, and how it is currently and will in the future be used in audio post-production, but more globally, like in film production and post-production. So AI has already been around, for a couple years. It's been around for longer than that, but it's been used and been in kind of like the top mind of discussion for a couple years, and it's a big kind of boogeyman when you talk to people who work in the industry. And there's even been, union discussions and committees made about AI. So it's something that's scary for a lot of people. And it is kind of, I try not to do too much like trendy stuff, but this is something where it's just been so prevalent that I figured it would be worth a live stream. So as always, if you guys have any comments, or even if you want to come in on the show, I can set up, I haven't set this up yet, but I'll set this up while I'm talking. If anybody wants to come on the show and, talk about this, I'll post a link to the Video Ninja if anybody wants to come in. I'll probably, let me think, do I have it set up? Yeah, I'll have to like kind of set it up live because I wasn't really super prepared for this, but it's just such a good topic to discuss with people that, make sure I got my headphones so I can talk to people. I think it'd be great to just, discuss. So kind of an overview of what we will be, let me look at my notes here. Okay, so we are going to talk about kind of defining AI, like what it is. Most of you guys already know, but we're going to talk about how it's currently being used, and then how it's going to be used, how I feel it's going to be used in the future as well. So it should be really interesting to just kind of dive into this. And it's going to be a little different from like a technical tutorial where we're looking at like how to do cleanup and stuff like that. We'll get into a little bit of that, but it's mostly going to be kind of like preparing ourselves for the future and really present day of AI. So if you haven't seen any of my stuff before, I'm Tom, and I've been working in audio post-production since college, which was 2004-5-ish, really is when I switched majors. But professionally, I've been working in audio post since about 2008. Lived in LA for many years, got the heck out of Dodge when I could. And to this day, my full-time job is audio post-production. I mostly work in Pro Tools, but I have learned DaVinci Resolve, and I've worked in other programs as well. So I have a pretty general experience. You can look up my credits on IMDb to just make sure I'm not one of these YouTubers who's never done anything. And so I'm coming at this from not a cocky, like, oh, look how experienced I am, but like I have experience. I generally know some of what I'm talking about, so I'm not trying to scare people or like beat you over the head with stuff, but it's something to, keep in mind. So AI, artificial intelligence, is basically using machine learning and computers to kind of do what humans do. It's basically automating tasks with the use of a computer's processor. Really, a lot of the processing uses GPUs, but like it's offloading work from human beings to machines. It's really something we've been doing, I mean, probably since humans invented the wheel. Like who wants to carry a saber-toothed cat up the hill to your cave? Let's make a cart with two wheels. Like technology has always been something that humans are good at developing, sometimes to our detriment, but AI is just another tool. So it's already being used mostly for dialogue cleanup. Most of the AI tools, if you go, like I'll show you on Waves here, or I just got a couple of these websites. Yeah, you guys can see that. Okay, so Waves is a big, they're kind of like the, I don't want to piss them off, but they're kind of like the Walmart of plugins. They have plugins for everybody. It'll do 100 million different things that you want. Clarity VX is one that they were really pushing, I think 2 years ago maybe, and you can see they've marked it down 80%. So this has been really promoted as being their AI kind of dialogue cleanup tool. Looks like they have a de-reverb, they have the VX Pro, which they've marked down quite a bit, and they've got just other, like they're really leaning into the AI stuff. So Waves has a lot as far as AI. Let me make this smaller so I can keep an eye on the chat. Hush is one that I've seen this used more on like bigger budget projects. The supervisors really like this one because it'll split the voice from the reverb, from the noise, so you can mix them. So a lot of tools just allow you to lower the noise and isolate the voice, and this allows you to mix them so that you can just have a smoother, less artifacty result. You know, if you sum these three together, it'll be the original sound. So you can, mixers tend to like this because they can balance out the voice and the noise and reverb with faders, which is really cool. So that is kind of a, like two of the big AI things. Another one is Acon Digital Dialogue Extract. I'll show you this one. I really like this tool. It does have a very distinct sound to it. Like I can hear this plugin when it's used on, you know, TV shows or movies that I watch, kind of like Cedar, like it has a sonic signature. But this Extract Dialogue plugin does a great job of isolating dialogue from background noise. But like I said, it has a sound. It has kind of a rubbery digital sound. It's very subtle, but you know, all these degrade the audio some, you know, but they're using, I believe Waves calls it a neural network. They're using AI. They kind of have like different algorithms that are used to isolate the voice from the noise. So yeah, and then DX Revive Pro is another one. I'll see that one. Oh, I cannot type at all. Yeah, this is by Accentize. I demoed this, and it's good, but it does, down here in the low frequencies, these damn cookies, man. Down here in the low frequencies, it does some weird stuff. So definitely check it on good monitors. But yeah, so, and these are all like, let's see how much this one is. They're not super expensive. They're usually around like, yeah, $100 to up to 300. Usually they'll have like a cheap version and a professional version. And they all kind of like, this is 100 and 300. Let's see what Extract Dialogue is. $100. Clarity is like the cheapo one. Unless you get the VX Pro, that's $250. How much is Hush? This one, let's do Hush Pro. Yeah, let's buy it. I mean, I'm not going to buy it. I've already demoed this. It's $250. So they all kind of look at each other and figure out what their, you know, what their price range is going to be, and they all basically do the same thing except for Waves undercutting them by $60. Yeah. So anyways, that is kind of like dialogue cleanup is a big thing with AI because I think the reason is it's so hard to do. It's so hard to edit dialogue, and if you're a good dialogue editor, you will pretty much, well, until the past year or two, you'll always have work because anybody can get SoundMiner and pirate a couple sound libraries or buy a couple libraries. They can get Soundly, SoundQ, and slap sound effects into a timeline. That's not hard to do. It is hard to do really good sound design, but what's very difficult to do is to make dialogue sound like it's supposed to. Make the edits sound seamless, you know, control the noise without nuking it and destroying everything. So I'm pretty sure that's why these tools were developed first, because it's solving the most difficult problem, which is cleaning up production sound. So they're here, you know, like they've been used for a couple years. I've been using them for a long time, and they're going to continue to get better. So maybe there's a day coming where dialogue editing is less important because you can just slap one of these on a guide track from Avid or Premiere or DaVinci and say, clean up this dialogue, and then bam, here you go. It's mixed, it's cleaned up, don't need that process anymore. So I can see that because it's automating a technical, tedious, expensive, labor-intensive task, which is really what our technology is meant to do. We got a couple questions here. Let's see. Humayon says, for me, DX Revive Pro is the best audio cleanup. Post audio for media. The stars, these are all members, so I try to focus on their comments first because you guys are supporting the channel, which, by the way, thank you. Thank you for being channel members. We have our, let me go back to here. We have our Discord for members. This is kind of what you get access to if you're a channel member, in addition to like a discount on my website and some other stuff. Like this Discord has really been awesome. It's been cool to look at all the stuff people are sharing, and like, you know, it's just kind of like a open forum for audio post-production, and we have a tab for production sound, and looks like Kevin is on set in Idaho, which is awesome. I've shot one movie in Idaho, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. And we have a plugin development tab. Still, this is kind of on the back burner for now. This is a plugin I've made just because I actually have so much work for the first time in months. So I'm trying to focus on that, and then I'll switch back to plugin development mode when I can. So yeah, thank you to channel members. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate it. Now let's get back to our discussion of AI. So questions we have or comments. Are there any of these, this is from Post Audio for Media, are there any of these plugins that are generative and should be used with caution for legal reasons? Yes. I have used one with permission. Let me open it in my other window here because 11 Labs blew me away on a project where, I'll show this to you. So 11 Labs is I've used it for text to speech. I've used it for like cloning voices. You can change your voice. Apparently there's sound effects, which I haven't really tested too much. But this is a generative AI tool, and it's super scary. Like, you can clone an actor's voice in here in about 5 minutes, and it does a pretty fair job of getting not only their inflection, but the sound of the microphone used to train the AI. Like if you throw a lav at it, it's going to spit out something that sounds like a lav. If you throw a boom at it, it's going to do the boom. Like, it does a really good job and is completely seamless when it works. And the couple of projects I've used it for, I've typed what I wanted the person to say, it spit it out, and it just drops into the timeline and done. Like, move on, next note, you know? So that's where, like, I figured this was a really good topic to talk about because this is new. Like, this is within the past year, and the speed of these being developed is going to... So technological advancements tend to follow like a logarithmic curve, and they will, you know, there's a slow development, and then all of a sudden it goes way up. It's just like fast. Things are just happening super fast. And then eventually, because of the limits of like hardware or like our ability to use the improvements, it'll slow back down. We're in like the upslope right now where things are just popping fast. So that's why it's good to look into some of this stuff, because the other thing is, if you are scared of this and you're like, no, I'm not going to touch anything AI, those of us who are using it are going to have a distinct advantage over somebody who is like, nope, I'm going to go back to 24-track dubbers. I'm only working on mag. I'm going to use my Moviola. Those, you know, you might have a project every 10 years that you can work on, but this stuff is like, it's cutting edge and it's doing a lot. So yeah, so for generating voiceover, ADR, maybe you need, a lot of times in movies, they'll have a line that they need to change for story reasons. Like, oh man, I really don't want to go to school tomorrow. Well, they actually added a scene between there, so it needs to be Friday. I don't want to go to school on Friday. 11 Labs is the perfect thing to say, okay, so make this character say, I don't want to go to school on Friday. Oh, we can't bring him in for ADR. Done. You know, it's like a couple minutes and you've got it trained and you have the AI ADR and you drop it in your timeline and that's it. So yeah, this is another good one. Look, I see it here in the chat is Adobe Podcast. Let's look that up. Adobe Podcast, my bad typing. So this is another one that gets used a lot. I've seen people use this in their edit, but I've also used it, like I've used it in dialogue edits before, obviously with permission to use AI tools, because you have to read their user, what's it called, agreement, because you know, once you upload something, you need to know where it goes and how it's going to be used. So this, you just drag an audio file to it and it cleans it up. So yeah, this is a really good addition. So who mentioned this one? Mike. Yeah, Mike Wax. So thank you. Oh, and then Lala AI. So I actually have a referral code, which I'm not going to share on here, but so this one is more for extracting. So people use Lala AI or Lala Lay for stem splitting. It can split off drums. A lot of remixers use this to get like just the drums or kill the drums and just have these other tracks. I like to use it for splitting noise and voice. I've also used it for, so the vocal and instrumental setting, I had a music documentary where the person the documentary was about was explaining how to write a song. And she's a guitarist, so she was playing acoustic guitar while she was talking and singing at the same time. She would be like, so, you know, you can go from this chord to this chord and you kind of just feel out where the voice leading is taking you. And then she would break into song. And I knew going into this scene that we were probably going to want to bring up her voice over the acoustic guitar. It's a beautiful, you know, vintage acoustic guitar. So I also wanted to EQ the guitar. I didn't want to add any reverb, but I just wanted to EQ things a little different. And of course, it was recorded with a single mic. So how do you do that? Well, you use something like this, Lala AI, to split the vocal and instrumental. And I showed the producers the result of this because we played the scene. They're like, man, that sounds really good. You know, sorry we only had one mic, but what you did with it was really good. And I was like, watch this. Solo the voice. You can hear the artist talking with no acoustic guitar behind it at all. So the guitar, you can hear the guitar. There was a tiny bit of bleed where you could hear the splitting happening. But when you smush them all together, you have separation and you can mix them separately. And they were like, their jaws hit the floor and they're like, oh man, that's so cool. They were like taking videos of it and like, this is, you know, great. So yeah, I use these tools, and if you know how to use them, you can do some really cool stuff. So Lala AI is one, Adobe Podcast, 11 Labs is great. This is like kind of a secret weapon. Everybody knows about Accentize, DX Revive. They know about Extract Dialogue. They know about Waves. And people sort of know about Hush Pro, but this is more of like an upcomer. But 11 Labs, Lala, those are two that I would really look into. And they're cheap. Like this one, I have a video on this. If you want my like code, I think it'll get you a discount on minutes. You pay for minutes with this one. So yeah, those are some really good things to check out. And let's see, what other comments do we have? All right, okay, so yeah, Post Audio for Media is asking about legal reasons. You do need actors' consent to use them, and always check with the producers. Like, that's a huge thing. Don't just start chucking stuff at it. House of Jen says that would make pickups and Frankenbites a bit obsolete. Yes. So a great use of 11 Labs is the text-to-speech. So you can train it on a recording. You can even do, like, they have voice packs you can use, but let's just say you train it on a person, person's voice. Maybe we can actually try this. Try instant voice cloning. Let's do this. We'll do this live. I'll need to put headphones on so I can hear. Okay, so let's take, this is our family heirloom short film that we've been working on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this ADR, because it's clean. Actually, let's clone production. Maybe this guy here. Let me see if you guys can even hear this. No, I think I need to... Let me set up my aux.io real quick. Wasn't super prepared for this, but that is totally fine. Aux.io. We need to go stream 1, I think. Let's see if this works.
And that's only because that's out of
Cool.
the goodness.
Please let me know if you guys can hear this.
And that's only because that's out of the goodness of your old employer's heart. He knows how hard things have been since you left the business.
Okay, so let's... How do I want to do this? Let me just freeze. I want it to be... like, I think you need 10 seconds. So I'm just gonna put this kind of in a run here, and we'll measure and make sure it's 10 seconds. So this, sorry if this is a little tedious. I wasn't really planning on doing some live stuff like this, but okay, 20 seconds, cool. So I think I'm just gonna freeze this or commit it. We want to do edit selection. Optimizing files. I don't even know what that means. Oh, you know what though? I don't think I want to... Oh, cool. No, it did it with the plugins. So this is... Yeah, so what I want to do then is probably... Shoot, undo. Nope, it's not going to let me undo. Okay. Make these active. I haven't thought about this, but you want to clone the sum of the boom and the lav, And you want to do it so that you can take this, throw it on your tracks, and have it go through your chain. So that's why I'm having to redo this, because what I want to do is take these and basically make a mix down track. So let me make a mono aux. We'll call this DX clone and bus. Sure, we'll put on Ducker. And then let me just add this bus here. And now I should be able to bounce this. No, let's commit this. Edit selection. Hopefully it should do it. Okay, great. So I did this kind of fast. But what I did is I routed these dialogue tracks. I doubled the output, so it's going to my dialogue aux, but it's also going to this clone aux. Then I froze the clone. So now if I go to 11 Labs, let me go find this file real quick. Should be work drive, Tom, audio files. This will be fun. This will kind of break things up. Okay, so Josh clone. So I've dragged it. It's 23 seconds. So this is going to clone my cleaned up audio. I've done some iZotope. It's EQ'd. Hasn't really been mixed through a chain, but I want this recording to be recorded here and this to be cloned, because I'm going to drag this to, like, you know, just an ADR track probably. So let's see how this is going. It's still going, so we're going to wait. And yeah, let me just go through some more comments while we wait. So House of Jen asked about Frankenbytes. This is great for when, for example, if a picture editor has cobbled together 10 takes to make somebody say something and you can't get it smooth. There's some moral issues with cloning somebody to literally put words in their mouth, which on documentaries I really try to steer away from. Just morally, it feels wrong to do that. Docs you want to capture, and you know, you want to, like, use the material and not create the material. That's really bad. It looks like this is done. Let me make sure. We need to call this Josh. Language. Oh, that's right. I've only done this a couple times, so. Can I just type in? No, I can't. English. Josh from family heirloom. Lom. Ugh. Ugh. Even worse. Yes. Save it. Okay. So, I can generate the speech. So let's do this. And then let me make sure I have my audio output set right, so you guys can hear this. Output should be go stream. And let's say, hey, YouTube, I'm Josh from family heirloom. Like and subscribe, which is something you never say, for more boring audio content! Exclamation mark. Let's hear it.
Hey YouTube, I'm Josh from Family Heirloom. Like and subscribe for more boring audio content.
That's pretty cool. It doesn't quite have the accent, but it's pretty good. Let's make him say something that, what would he say? Well, let's just swap a word.
500's a deal. And that's only because that's out of the good.
Let's make him say 400's the deal.
400's the deal.
No, didn't get the accent. But, you know, it does sound like him. He's a friend of mine, so I know what he sounds like.
He knows how hard things have been since he left the business.
Let's make him say Kyle USOB.
Kyle USOB.
Nope, didn't quite get. So it's good, but it's not perfect. What else could we have him say? Oh, let's train it some more. Let's try that. Let's do that. That's gonna help. Because it does work a lot better if you train it more. Commit it. Edit selection. Josh clone 2. Let's see if we can train this more. Edit voice. No? History. Oh, style exaggeration. It's kind of cool. Let's try that.
$400's the deal.
Nope, not quite. So I don't know if we can, like, train this more. My voices.
The beauty of waterfalls reminds us of nature's endless wonder.
Not quite. Let's delete it. I guess we start over. Okay. So you can do a professional. Let's do... We're going to do, like, probably a bunch of these.
500's a day.
No.
You needed the money. Look, if you don't...
Yeah, let's do these two. Sorry, this is slow. Like, I'm trying to kind of do this live. So there's dead air. Really sorry. But you know, you guys are probably done listening to me yap anyways. Okay, Josh Clone 3. Let's go back to here. And that's cool. It's got a little thing here. I mean, that's a minute. Okay. Let's call this Josh. V2. English. Just call it Josh. More training. Yep. Text to speech.
When we honor our differences, we celebrate our humanity.
Ooh, that's a lot better.
When we honor our differences, we celebrate our humanity.
That's good. So text to speech. Try it.
400's the deal.
Doesn't quite get his weird accent. Let's try a longer thing. Let's see. What could we make him say? He's groaning.
It's just not. 500's because he knows how hard things have been.
Try this. Breath.
Kyle, I'm gonna chase you in my truck and get extremely out of breath.
Oh, breathe. Yeah, that's my bad.
Kyle, I'm gonna chase you in my truck and get extremely out of breath.
Pretty close. Let's try this style exaggeration. Similarity.
Kyle, I'm gonna chase you in my truck and get extremely out of breath.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Let's download it. Actually, let's do something we can drop in. Okay. This is going to take a little bit of looking at this for where we can drop this in.
500's a deal. And that's only because that's out of the goodness of your old employer's heart. He knows how hard things have been since you left the business. Well, PayPal okay?
All right. This is an easy swap. PayPal okay. We're going to ADR this. He's going to say Venmo.
Venmo okay?
It's kind of weird with the gap. Is Venmo all right?
Is Venmo all right?
The T. is a little too TE.
Is Venmo all right? Is Venmo all right?
Is Venmo okay?
Is Venmo okay?
How about what you say? Cash or check?
Cash or check?
Maybe. PayPal, okay. What about the original?
PayPal okay?
Yeah, let's try spelling out. Okay. Oh, Cash App. Cash App is one people use.
Cash App okay?
Oh, that's like him saying a statement.
Is Cash App okay?
Oh, here we go. Got it. So it takes a little bit of work. Let's put it. Gosh, what a mess. Save it. Okay. This will be super fun. Work drive. Here we go. Unfortunately, it does give you an MP3, but I haven't found that to be a super problem. So let's put a little bit of room tone. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting pretty excited. I can probably take this. Let's see. Moment of truth.
Well, is Cash App okay? You know, friends, family, no fees. He knows how hard things have been since he left the business. Well, is Cash App okay? You know, friends, family, no fees.
Whatever. It's Rainbow 69.
It's pretty good. I would buy it. You know, if you couldn't get them, then you could totally use that ADR. So, sorry that was kind of a long... Oh, shoot. You guys are going to want to see the timeline.
He knows how hard things have been since he left the business.
Well,
is Cash App okay? You know, friends, family, no fees.
whatever. It's Rainbow 69 420.
Good deal.
Okay, so there you go. So it does work. But yeah, it's fiddly. You know, you got to really massage it and kind of make it work. So yeah, it's not instant, and that takes way more time than if the person's here and you have the microphone up and you can just record them saying it. But if you can't get them, I'd say that's pretty usable. And I did it live in front of you guys, not really knowing, you know, like not having used 11 Labs that much. So you can fiddle around with it and get a pretty good result. Let's go through some questions here. And okay. Oh, there's a bunch here. Okay. Alexander Edit says it doesn't sound anything like Josh. What about this? What you just heard, does that sound like Josh? Because to me it does. Let's listen to it one more time.
He knows how hard things have been since he left the business.
Well,
is Cash App okay? You know, friends, family, no fees.
whatever. It's Rainbow 69 420.
I think that sounds like him. Okay. I tried edit voice. It didn't look like it let me train it more. There's not a way for you to edit inflection or performance. You get what you get. You can run, David Brown says you can run the 11 Labs output through iZotope dialog contour and also do time corrections. Yeah, definitely. Alexander Ed says voice cloning and stem separation still have ways to go before they're actually useful. I appreciate that thought. However, I have used them and I have done impossible things with them. Stuff that has saved certain sections. So I would say they do have obviously more room to improve, and they'll continually improve. As far as them not being useful now, I'm going to call BS on that. It's super useful right now. I've used it to do things that I couldn't do just a couple years ago. Okay. So, yes, so SAG-AFTRA, they do have rules about voice cloning, and it is really important to check people's contracts and ask them. You can always ask agents of people. That's usually where you go. If a person has an agent, you'll go there to ask. 11 Labs lets you record a guide acting track, and you can put your performance on the cloned voice. Yes, you can do that. So you can change your voice. You could sound like President Trump or Mike Tyson or all kinds of different people. Could use punctuation to exaggerate pauses. I think so. You can download WAV files. Let's check this out. That's just download. I think, yeah, you can download WAV files, but you have to pay more, and I just wanted like the cheapo version just to test this, and it seemed to work really well. So, yeah. Obviously, you're not going to need this if you have somebody to do ADR, and you can just record everything. It's not free. Okay, stems, yeah, so last version worked very well. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, and DaVinci Resolve has this stuff built in. Another plug for DaVinci Resolve. Like, there's stuff, you can voice clone in DaVinci Resolve. I haven't tested that out, and I don't want to fumble through another workflow thing with you guys, but I will check that out. That would actually be a good thing to do for an edited video where I can cut out all the mistakes that I make, which are many, lots of mistakes. So yeah, good idea for a video for this, maybe this week or next week. Okay, let me see what I've got on my outline here. We talked about Adobe Podcast Enhance. We didn't really talk about iZotope, but I've talked a lot about that. Ambience matching is another thing that AI is being used for. So I don't know. Maybe Absentia DX is using AI to get their room tone generator, or air tone they call it. I use this all the time in a dialogue edit. What's the other one? AudioKit's Undertone does that, but those are more like grain sampling generator type deals. I don't think they're using AI for that. iZotope does have ambience match, but it doesn't work very well, unfortunately. Okay, AI assisted mixing and mastering. That's more of like, so I wanted to just talk a little bit about that because they've been doing AI mastering for quite a while, where it's like $50 a song, you upload your WAV file, and then a couple hours later you get a mastered version back, which is probably run through a bunch of proprietary algorithms to get you what it thinks your track should sound like. iZotope Ozone, a lot of people use that on their 2Mix for mastering their like final mix. So there's tools out there for music too, but since this is mostly audio post for film, that's kind of why we're focused on that. But yeah, AI mastering has been around for a while, and it's another one of those things. It's an expensive, maybe not easy process, but it's a process that's been considered to be a black art. It's kind of behind this like cloak and mirrors of like, well, you need the analog this and the analog that, and you have to run it through this chain, and I have a desk with all this hardware. So, it's just something that people don't want to pay for. So they've developed a tool to make it cheaper and easier. EQ matching, we have a question about that. Tone matching, yeah, there's in RX, I already have this open actually. You can do tone matching sort of in iZotope. they have dialogue match, but the one I usually use is EQ match. I don't think this is so much AI as it is like just looking at an EQ shape and applying it to different things. I know people use Boom It. I've heard that. That's a HAL audio plugin. And yeah, there's all kinds of options for that. What is the... Oh, and also DaVinci. DaVinci has a dialogue EQ matching tool, which is really useful. So Master Nelson says, what is the AI noise reduction you've seen used most? It's usually DX Revive or Acon Digital, this one, Digital Extract Dialogue. This one gets used a lot. Generally, you want to have this up, you know, -5, -6. I have seen people crank this and get some really processed results. I like just to go subtle with things, though, and kind of just shave a little bit off. We haven't really talked too much about sound design. That stuff isn't quite there yet. The voice cloning, you know, it's learning off of material, and the human voice is a very controlled, specific thing. So it's easier, I would say, for AI to learn human voice and replicate that and what that should sound like versus make sound effects. So sound design, sound effects selection, cutting sound effects in sync with picture and having them sound real, that I think is going to take a while. But I've seen a little bit of that where it can, like in DaVinci, for example, it can track and pan across the screen, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So good questions, good comments here. Just kind of looking through this other stuff. Oh yeah, Waves did release a new AI product for AI generated sound effects. I haven't looked at that yet. So if we're going to talk about like kind of what the top AI tools are for specifically dialogue based workflows, we went through this a little bit, and I'll just kind of go through them again. We can close the Discord for now. I can put this back over on my other screen. So Hush Pro separates voice, reverb, and noise. Waves has Clarity VX, which I demoed, and it was fine. You know, it didn't do anything super special, and I felt like I had other tools that sounded a little cleaner. Acon Digital Extract Dialogue. This one, to me, is one of the better sounding ones. And then a lot of people like DX Revive Pro. Like I said, when I tested this, as much as I like their other plugins, it was just a little too synthetic sounding in the low end. But I know a lot of people that swear by this, so I'm not writing this off. I'm just saying I preferred the sound of Acon. They both have kind of some negative audio artifacts associated with them. So really, I would say just pick between the Acon Digital or the Accentize. If you have a bunch of money you want to blow, then sure, get both. And then we talked about ADR and voiceover cloning in 11 Labs. We talked about stem splitting and Lala AI. These two tools are offline, you know, drag and drop type of tools, but they're very useful and can sometimes get you better results than a plugin, with the downside of having to drag an audio file out. Similar, Adobe Podcast does kind of the same thing. This tool is more of like a wild card, like it works maybe half the time. And what I'll generally do with this is I'll process it and then mix it back in with the dirty, and I'll phase align it using Auto Align Post 2. And I'll mix in the squeaky clean podcast with the dirty, and it gets a pretty good result. So yeah. And that is kind of the tools, the AI tools that I use right now. There's obviously new ones, and yeah, and Paul says Adobe Podcast changes the voice. It does. It does change the voice, and that's why it's like 50-50. Sometimes it changes it for the better, and sometimes it changes it and you're like, what is this? This doesn't sound human. So yeah, that's how it goes. Let's see. We didn't have anybody drop by for like an interview, and that's fine. Is there any other things? Oh, yeah. If you guys have any AI tools that you use that we didn't talk about, let me know. You know, tell me what tools you like to use, and maybe there's a new one I don't know about. I try to sort of keep on top of stuff, but it's at the same time, I'm not a plugin junkie. I don't like pull the wallet out every time something new comes out. And yeah, it's really just like, what is going to help me do something that I can't do, or do something better, more efficient. Speaking of efficiency, one of the downsides to these AI tools is they are very intensive when it comes to processor usage or CPU usage. So you're not going to use most of these tools as a live insert on a track or a bus. You're going to process the audio using Audio Suite and have them be offline processes, you know? So that's one of the downsides with them is if I was going to, and please do not do this, I hear this all the time, but if I was going to clean up my whole dialogue thing and I was just going to blanket process this, like I said, never do this because you need to take stuff clip by clip. But if I was going to, then I'd have to process all the clips and render them, and then like that's it. How do I adjust that? Well, I'd have to go back to my X tracks. So you're not usually using these AI plugins as inserts, because if you were to do that, you're going to get a lot of latency. I'll show you what this does to my aux here. So with this Acon on here, my delay compensation is at 5159. If I make it inactive, it's 39. So it's adding a ton of latency, which then has to be compensated in my mix, and it's also adding a lot. Actually, let's look at the CPU usage with that too. This will be good. Oh, where was my, oh, it's over here. Yeah, derp. Okay, so here's this with it on. I'm gonna have to play something so that the processor kicks in here. So it's at 26%. Let's make it inactive. And it drops down to about 18%.
Look, if you don't want to sell,
it's adding a lot of processor overhead, you know, 10% or so to have that on a bus. And the other bad thing about these is your punches are going to be different. It's going to sound different every time you push play. That's just kind of how it works. So you push play one time, the AI does its thing. You push play a second time, it does a different thing. So yeah, that's it. Okay, let's see. Other comments we have. Yeah, we're almost to an hour, so I've got plenty of work to do today. So we'll just kind of wrap things up in the next 5 or 10 minutes. DX Revive works super well for me. This is from Riley Geringer. Okay. Oh yeah. So I'll show you a really good use for these AI tools that is a little more, I would say, precise. Yeah, it's more precise, really. So in iZotope, you can do plugin processing, which is so useful and something I don't see people do at all. So I have this assigned to Shift P on my keyboard. What I'll do is I'll look and see where is the problem. There's not a obvious clank or clunk in here, but if I wanted to, let's say, get rid of some of the rumble, I would highlight the rumble and probably feather the selection a bit, hit Shift P, and bam, it's taken out some of the noise. Maybe this band too. You know, there's a little bit of a mid-range noise. So now it's cleaner. It's not clean, but it's cleaner. And that's where I like to leave things. I like to leave them cleaner. And if I undo, then you know, the noise is right back there. So that is a great way to use these tools, is don't just process the whole thing. Really be specific about where the problem is and process it in like iZotope, so that you can be detailed and clean it up, but not have it be squeaky, robotically clean, which we don't want. So really good input there. Who was that? I forget who that was. Oh, Riley, yeah. Okay, so good input, Riley. Okay, Mike Wax says Google Veo 3 has AI voice generation. That's cool. I know about Clear from Supertone. SonarWorks Sound ID, or WonarWorks, real-time voice changer plugin. Zakhar Bulatov says, could you send me the link to your Discord server again? It should be, I'll post it on the, let me do that right now. I'll post it in the community page of our, sorry, I'm trying to do this like while I talk, which I'm terrible at. Invite people, or send a server edit invite link. Expires after never. Generate a new link. Okay, I'm going to post this in our YouTube community page. How do I do this? Membership? No. YouTube Studio? Is it YouTube Studio? I feel like it wasn't that. Nope, that's to change my picture. I don't want to do that. Guys, where is this? Oh, posts. That's right. They changed it. Okay. So this is for Discord link. I'll post it in the posts for all channel members. Hopefully that works. Let me know if it doesn't. Okay, good. Thank you so much, Zakar, for reminding me about that. Plugins, did dialogue extract and RX, yep. Once you let DX Revive replace entire harmonic partials of the voice, it becomes noticeable. Okay, so I think we're good. I feel like this stream was good. Sorry, I was a little scattered, and I mean, that's just kind of how my stuff is. It's not super organized. But thank you guys for your patience while I kind of showed the 11 Labs text-to-speech. I'll probably do some more on that. I've got a ton of work to get through those, so I'm going to have to sign off of here. I do just want to say thank you to... I try to say thank you every stream, because people who buy stuff off my website or join as channel members or even just watch my content, you guys have really changed my life. Like, I didn't think I was going to be a YouTuber, and now I'm accepting, as much as I hate that term, I'm accepting that, yeah, technically I'm a YouTuber. So I will continue to do edited videos. I'm going to continue doing streams, but I'm also going to continue to say thank you, because you guys are what make this possible. If it wasn't for you guys, I would not be wasting my time doing this. I would be out chopping wood, working on my truck, or doing other stuff. So thank you guys so much for your support. Every comment gets read. Every purchase that you guys make on my website, like that puts bread on my table for, well, a little bit of bread, not very much, but some bread on the table, especially when work is really slow. So I can't thank you guys enough, and I'm going to continue to be thankful. I'm going to keep working on content, and I'll see you guys next week. Till then, take care.